There's a fly in here. I can hear it. Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Hope your homes are free from flies. And today's video is happening because Rich said so. Yeah, I did a video not that long ago, a week or two maybe, no, a little bit more, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, it's hard to tell with this lockdown when, it's just losing track of stuff. So, I had the lunchbox out on the golf course. A few of you, including David Young and Rich, said, oh, it goes really well and stuff. And then Rich suggested, we need to see under the body shell of that lunchbox. Fair enough, Rich said so, then that's it. Discussion over. So, but before I do that, before I get into the lunchbox, I want to give you a quick update on two other models that I've been working on. First of all, the FTX Outlaw, the replacement chassis arrived today, as did the drive shafts. You might have seen a previous video I tried to drill out, or I had to drill out these bolts here, these ones here, just keeping this small front plate attached to this bigger plate. The bolts there, they were utterly seized solid, they were completely solid, and ended up stripping them, and couldn't get them out, so I had to drill them out, ruin the chassis, so I had to get a new chassis, and it turned out I didn't need to remove them anyway, because you can get to the diff from the top. Never mind, and actually it wasn't the diff that was to blame, so I really didn't need to do that, but the point is it's done now. This arrived this morning, I fixed it up. Interestingly, before I put the chassis on, I tried these 4 bolts again. It was not corrosion. They are that tight from the factory. These ones also would not budge. Somebody at FTX needs to stop doing that. FTX, stop it. It's not necessary to be that tight. So that's the Outlaw. Speaking of the Outlaw, a lot of you have been saying, oh yeah, I've loved my Outlaw. My Outlaw's been great. It's been so reliable. Apart from a little... What's wrong with my... If I got a lemon or something, my Outlaw breaks all the time. So, I don't know. And I don't understand if I do have a lemon, how it's still a lemon, because it's had new springs, it's had new suspension arms, it's had new chassis twice. Why is mine rubbish? Maybe I'm just rubbish. Anyway, so that's the Outlaw. The next thing is the Heng Long truck project. I know this has caused division in the viewership. Some of you are for this project, some of you are against this project, but we'll get it done slowly. The motor's in, tested, working. It's all good. I've done a little bit of start. I'm not going to crack on with it at the moment because there's some problems already. As you can see here, these are the hangers for the leaf springs. There's one there, one there, one there, and there should be one here. But the hangers have a sticky up a bit. See that on the right hand side there, a little bit sticks up. Just there. So that's supposed to slot into here, into this slot on the servo tray. This is for this truck, as is this. But they're not compatible, they don't fit together. There's too much material between this slot and the chassis rail. So that slot is too far away, essentially, from that chassis rail. So there needs to be less material there, it needs to be shaved away a little bit. Otherwise this won't fit. So, it's very thick and strong, but it is just aluminium, so it might be doable. That might not be too much of a disaster. The thing that really bugs me though is, another thing that's a bit wrong, the 2 bolt holes here's one of the leaf springs, there you go, the 2 bolt holes, they bolt through onto the axle. You can see the 2 bolt holes on the axle as well, and it's supposed to bolt down. There's something in between, a wee sort of spacer thing, but the 2 bolt holes on the leaf springs are too close together. They're just too close together, they don't fit. And you can't stretch the leaf spring out, it's metal, it's steel, it doesn't stretch. So I tried to drill one of the leaf springs, drill the 2 holes, just make the 2 holes bigger. They would still be too close together, but at least the bigger holes would maybe, because they're not too far away. But the result was that, it just snapped. So I've now got 3 leaf springs, and those 3 leaf springs don't fit. I guess it doesn't matter if you order metal bits or plastic bits, junk is junk. So yeah, I'm going to have to make my own leaf springs. I ordered some spring steel, so we'll see how that gets on. Anyway, enough of the Heng Long truck. On to the reason you're watching this video. To see me drink coffee, obviously. No. The lunchbox. Now this lunchbox I've had for many years, and it's still on the original body shell I did all those years ago. So it's looking extremely third hand now. Yeah, it's a bit scabby. It's very much scabby. It's split there, split in the top, and actually this is no longer held on one side, so I should really investigate that. The stickers are all sort of slightly knackered now as well. You see you've got my Star Wars stickers, strictly original trilogy only. No Disney in sight anywhere. Not that Disney had been on the scene and ruined it by this point, but still. Metallica, and also The Legend of Zelda, some of my favourite things. Interestingly, some of the stickers are absolutely knackered. Like, look at the state of Leia. Looks like she's had gravel rash on her face. She looks like she's ran down the road on her face. Han Solo, I mean, there, like, there's nothing left of him. But for some reason, this, what does it say again? Rebel Alliance. This Rebel Alliance sticker is in perfect condition. I don't know how it's managed to survive all this time, but there we are. Yep. It's a bit sad looking, but hey, it looks fine when it's running around and falling over and doing wheelies and doing the lunchbox thing, so yeah, not fussed. I'm not fussed. If there's one, or really two, RCs that can never ever ever stay shelf worthy, it's lunchboxes and Midnight Pumpkins. So let's get rid of this. I'm pleased the way it's stood up the test of time. I mean, it's been like that for, I don't know what, 8 years or something, so. And I never clean it, I never maintain it, so yeah. Oh, it's filthy under here. There's sand. Okay, so Rich, as well as David Young, commented on how well this lunchbox goes. So I want to talk about what internals it has, what drives it, what modifications, since you guys seem to be interested. Let's talk about the modifications first of all. This lunchbox is running a full bearing kit. The original bearing kit I fitted when it was new, years and years ago, but as you can still see, still in great condition, the bearings. I've got a chassis brace along the top, that's just a strip of aluminium. In case you don't know, these plastic parts here, the sort of, I mean, it's not really shock mounts, it's just the tub of the chassis itself where the shocks mount to, it flexes back and forward. It's also got the alloy body shell mounts because the plastic ones sheared off straight away. There are 5 oil-filled shocks in this lunchbox. The lunchbox comes with 4 friction shocks, pogo sticks. They're all Ansman shocks. It used to have, see these silver ones? It used to have 75mm Ansman shocks all round. The front 2 sheared. Because what happens is there's no double wishbone suspension on a lunchbox, so I don't know why I went up there a bit. There's no double wishbone suspension on a lunchbox, so when the suspension compresses, the camber goes whoop. That, see? So what happened is it basically hit its own shock absorber with its own wheel and snapped the shock absorber. It happens all the time on a lunchbox. Put spacers in it, stiffen up the springs a little bit, it tends to resist that a little bit more, and now it's been running for years like this. These are still Ansman shocks and springs, but these are actually what used to be on the Madrat. I believe these were actually the rear shocks on the Madrat. These are the original Madrat shocks. So what else have I got? We've got the wheelie bar mod. Wheelie bar mod where you brace the wheelie bar here and here, because otherwise all the shock goes through the one mount at the bottom and it can split the gearbox casing. Again, that's original. It's been there since the day I got it or the day I built it, and it's never shattered, so it's obviously working fine. 5th shock mod. That's why I've got 5 shocks. See the 5th shock mod in there? It resists the gearbox tendency to flex backwards. It's a lot better than having just the two stupid wee springs that go in here. Helps a lot, but it's been replaced, superseded nowadays by having a 3D printed part, but mine was already done, so I'll just leave it like that. I'm quite happy with it. In terms of this funny suspension setup where they go, I do have upstairs an unopened in its bag FX10 kit, which you can introduce to this model or a Tamiya Hornet or Tamiya Frog or whatever to give it double wishbone, but I haven't done it. It was supposed to be for the Hornet that I used to have, and I was going to make the Hornet a decent buggy or a less crap buggy, but I never got around to it. I ended up selling the Hornet. I lost interest in it. I don't think I'll fit it to the lunchbox. I mean, first of all, I don't think you can really make a lunchbox handle. You can make a handle better, but you can't make it handle. Secondly, what is the point of a lunchbox to handle? If you're trying to chase handling with this thing, you're kind of missing the point and you're backing up the wrong tree completely. And handling, right, what have I got in here that handles? Mad Rats. That's for outdoor ones. I've got my Lossy Mini 8T. There's a XXX SET, okay, it's for sale, but touring cars, you know, there's plenty of things that handle. Why would I want to make this? It's fine, don't worry about it. So we'll ignore that. Any other mods? Not really. I do have a few lead wheel weights in there because when I fitted the LiPo, it was so wheelie prone that I just decided to put a wee bit more weight. Don't know if it helped or not, I can't remember. I used to have a 3D printed battery bar there to allow 2S LiPos because they're a little bit longer than the nickel metal hydrides. So to get my Overlander LiPos to fit, I put my friend Kirill, Russian guy who I met at university, who lives in Stirling. Hi Kirill, if you're watching, you're probably not. He 3D printed me one of these. Sticks out a little bit before so I can fit my LiPo. Thing is, those Overlander LiPos, like I said, are slightly longer. But now I have a core RC LiPo as well. But this core RC LiPo, I don't know where it is, kicking around somewhere, is designed to be exactly the same size as a nickel metal hydride. So I didn't need this. If I wanted to just use the core LiPo, I could just put the core LiPo in there and it fits with the standard bar. It means I can't use my Overlanders. But that was fine because Matthew only has Overlanders. He doesn't have a smaller core one. So I gave him the battery bar for free. So it's now on Matthew's lunchbox, which means he can use his Overlanders. I'll use my core. We're both running 2S LiPos. All good. All good. Anything else? I think that's it in terms of mods. My Finnish friend Cal, I don't know how, you need to correct me, how do you pronounce your name? It's spelled K-A-L-L-E, is it Cal, is it Kale, is it Calais? Please let me know how to pronounce your name properly, I'd like to do it properly. Finnish subscriber was asking me what weight of oil I'm running in my lunchbox. Honestly, not a Scooby. Did this 8 years ago. These are as they came. These are, I believe, as they came. I don't know. By this point, they're probably running on air. I really should service this car. But never mind. We'll get around to it. Please forgive. Look at this. Look at this unshielded bad soldering. That's how I used to roll. Please forgive me for this. Anyway, this is the Ess One Sound Unit. Fits lovely and snugly within the Lunchbox chassis. See that? Perfect. So that's where I get my V8 rumbly noise from. You basically, it comes with software that you can. Is that started to come out? No, it's fine. It comes with software. You just basically, or rather, the website has the software. You download it or something. You plug it into your computer, and you can select all sorts of manner of different engine noises and such, and you can change the sort of gearing. So you can select how long you're on full throttle before the sound module emulates you reaching top gear in the car, like a 5-speed. I think it's a 5-speed gearbox in a car. So I've set it so basically by the time that the motor on this is spun up to full speed, the sound has gone and reached the top end of 5th gear. So it's going, if that makes sense. So that's this one. That's this. Yes. I don't know if I explained it very well, but you probably get the gist. I'm using an E-Tronics Probe WP speed controller. Just one of these very affordable, reasonably decent little speed controllers. Brushed ESC, forward, brake and reverse, LiPo and nickel metal hydride compatible. Used to be my go-to speed controller. But slightly prefer the Hobbywing 1060 nowadays. It's basically the same sort of performance as a Hobbywing 1060, same sort of spec, but £1 retail more expensive than the Hobbywing. And also the Hobbywing's just, it's a smaller, it's more compact. I'm not sure how many amps forward this is. It might be the same, because the Hobbywing's 60 amps forward, this might be the same, but it doesn't say anywhere. I can't remember, but it's a good little speed controller nonetheless. I'm also using this exact speed controller in my boat as well. It's fine. But the reason it goes so well is this brushed motor in there. This is a 27 turn stock brushed motor. and it goes great for a 27 turn stock brush motor. It's a P2K Pro, a Trinity P2K Pro. Now, this used to be in my Team Lossy and also my Pro 4, I used to have one, racing touring cars, my HBI Pro 4. For those of you who don't know, Trinity released a motor called the P2K in the early 2000s, and it was a fantastic motor. It was a rival sort of to the Reedy Rage, one of the best motors on the market at the time. Then they split off development into two branches. I mean, I'm going to oversimplify this, but you'll get the rough idea. You had two branches. You had the P2K at the bottom, and then you had two branches. One branch was the high RPM branch, which was the P2K2, and then P2K2 Pro, which is what this is. The other branch simply went from the P2K to the P2K Pro, which was the high torque. So P2K, P2K2, P2K2 Pro, then P2K, P2K Pro. Now, to give you an example, this P2K2 Pro, the high RPM variant, in fact the highest RPM variant of the P2Ks, has 104.9 Newton millimeters of torque. 104.9. This one has 188. Not too far off double. It's probably like 75% more torque. So it's quite a large amount more, quite a serious amount more torque. However, I don't know if I can I read the, I can't really read the RPM. It's all faded and gone, unfortunately. No, it's not visible. But I know that this is higher RPM. So, but quite considerably higher RPM than that. That's a lower RPM motor, but a very high torque motor for a 27 turn. Which is why I thought it would be great for the Lunch Box, because it produces all this wheelie power. The P2K2 series, the P2K2 Pro, was superseded by the Revenge of the Monster series, and then the Revenge of the Monster Pro, which is this one. Now the reason I brought this up is I'm a bit upset, because although I'm very glad I put the P2K Pro in this lunchbox, several years ago I was spending some of the festive period at my mum and dad's house, and Jackie and Matthew were there. Matthew had just built his lunchbox and he wanted to use them outside in the snow. No problem, fine. Unfortunately, the road had just been gritted, so the snow had lots of salty grit in it, and that corroded my P2K Pro. I had to rebuild it, it seized up. And although it's now running fine, it looks terrible. It's all pitted, it's all corroded, the sticker is completely faded off and peeling and discoloured, and it's awful. That's annoying because this motor, this Revenge of the Monster Pro, was in my Lossy touring car, and I won all of those trophies, see in the background there, with this motor, which is why I got it on display. This motor is now beyond use, it's goose now, but I put it on display once it had given up its last legs. My plan was to put this one on display as well once it reaches its last legs, because that takes some of the credit. Sometimes I raced with this motor as well instead of that one. Sometimes. If a track suited high torque conditions. For example, it was on carpet and there were lots of nadry little tight corners where you didn't maintain a lot of momentum. You had to brake, turn, and then build up momentum again, and there was lots of nadry little bits. That required a nice kick of torque. So what I would do is gear up the car and use the high torque motor. And it made a weird noise because everybody else stuck to the high RPM motors, and mine was sounded like a diesel. But it was really like a much, you could hear it was much lower RPM, but it went great. It went really well. So this motor, although I won more with this because I used it more, deserved a place on display, and I'm a bit annoyed because it is a fantastic motor, the old P2K Pro. This has even less torque than that, even though this is the high RPM variant. This is even higher RPM, but even less torque. Almost as much. This is, what did I say this was? 104.9, 101.4. And this is also an extremely, extremely amazingly powerful example of the Revenge of the Monster Pro. I haven't come across a twin magnet version, which is what this is, better than this one. So it could be that the average is even less torque than this, I don't know. But the difference in RPM is even greater. 19,599, 22,461, quite a big difference, and that's at 5 volts. This is rated at 5 volts. We ran it at 7.2 volts, so the difference between the two would be even greater. So this was considerably quicker than this, but it had less torque, so you had to gear it more appropriately. But to be honest, you had to gear this one right anyway. It's not got that much. You get away with the gearing a little bit more over one of these because, yeah, it's torqueier. So that's why my lunchbox goes so well, because the PTK Pro is just such a great little motor. It's got so much punch for a 27 turn motor. I really like it, and you know, the fact that the bearings are quite, obviously the gearbox won't spin here, there you go. The fact that the bearings are still nice and free running in this thing, another reason it goes so well, and the lighter LiPo as well as the extra punch that a LiPo can offer. Yeah, it goes great, it goes really well. But I'm using E-tronics electronics throughout. It's not just the speed controller. I'm using an E-tronic, no I'm not, sorry I'm wrong, I'm using an Altern USA steering servo, that's right. Altern USA is the my go-to for budget servos. The servo is like £7 or £6 or something, and it's perfectly good specs for what you pay. It's relatively quick, it's relatively torquey. I believe it's waterproof. I can't remember. Altern USA, made in Taiwan. But I like their speed, their servos. And then in terms of radio gear, my go-to is the E-tronics Pulse system. No real complaints about these. I've got one on my hang long truck, one on my Outlaw. I think that's it. So I think I've got 3 of them. Pretty sure. I've never had any complaints with these ones, so that's my go-to. And it's perfectly adequate to channel 2.4 GHz. Good range, good reliability. So there we are. My extremely scabby but fun lunchbox. Hope that satisfied your curiosity, Rich. You're happy with my answer. I'm sad about my PTK Pro. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It looks awful, guys. It looks freaking terrible. 188 Newton millimeters of torque though. No wonder it pulled so well. 101.4, yeah. I can't remember the torque figure on this. Sorry, the RPM figure. It's been so many years since that sticker's worn away. I wish I could tell you, I really do. But let me just have a quick peek. No, it's gone. It's completely gone, sorry. Completely gone. But there we are. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. Yeah, I really need to service these shocks. It's fine. Didn't even rebound. Right. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.